So I see the topic. I just want to understand when you say proof that he's the Messiah, what are you referring here? Like, what do you mean?
Prove that he's the Messiah. Don't just claim it, prove it. Show me that he indeed is the Messiah, that he meets the messianic qualifications.
Which are?
You don't know?
No, I don't.
Fair enough. So before I answer this, then we have to set a foundation. Okay.
Huh?
The word Messiah. Where do you know where it comes from?
So Messiah, the Hebrew version, I don't, but Al-Masih in Arabic, I do have some understanding of where it is derived from.
Well, so actually, the word Masih is derived from the Hebrew word Mashiach, Messiah. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
So now, when we understand, okay, it comes from the Hebrew, we see where does this word come from? Where do we find its origin? And that's in the scriptures, the Bible. Okay?
Okay.
So when we look into the Bible and we look at the word Messiah, see how it's used, see how it's applied, see what it means, we can see the qualifications of what it means to be the Messiah, the identity of the Messiah, the mission of the Messiah, who he is, what he is, where he's from, where he'll be born, his lineage, things of this nature. All of those things about the Messiah come from the scriptures. You don't get this information in Islam. Okay.
Okay, so basically you're saying there's a standard set by the Old Testament here, right?
Yes.
And you want us to use the Quran to show that the Prophet Isa met these standards that were set by the Old Testament.
Well, not really. What it is so the first point, and you're definitely more reasonable than the usual, so I don't have to go through the steps with you. But usually I have to prove the point first that this information is not found in the Quran or the Hadiths. It's found in the Hebrew scriptures. So
the standard for what the Messiah is.
Correct.
Okay.
So the Quran identifies Jesus as the Messiah, but doesn't tell you how or why. It just calls him.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but it doesn't tell you like he's the Messiah because of this, or he fulfilled this, he did this, whatever. So, nor does it have any of the messianic qualifications anywhere. Like it doesn't tell you about the Messiah. It just calls Jesus the Messiah. So you have to go back to the previous scriptures to even understand what that even means when you're saying that Jesus is the Messiah. Okay. So that's the first point that needs to be, that's made. Second point is understanding that you cannot prove from Islam, you cannot prove that Jesus is the Messiah. It's impossible. As a Muslim, if you're a Muslim that rejects the previous scriptures, then it is impossible for you to prove that Jesus is the Messiah. All you have is a claim.
Yeah, so you're saying that, if I just understand what you're saying, the first point is that you cannot rely on the Quran to give you what the standard of a Messiah is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go back to the previous scripture to get to understand what it means to be a Messiah.
Yes.
And then the second point is, following that, you are not able to see in the Quran where this standard that has been set out by the previous scriptures being met in the Quran as it describes who Jesus is.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So,
okay.
So as a Muslim, if I'm one of those Muslims that are really hardball and reject the previous scriptures, all I need is the Quran, the Quran is sufficient for me. If all you go by is the Quran and Hadith, I'll grant the Hadith as well, um, then it is impossible for you to prove objectively that Jesus is the Messiah. All you have as a Muslim is a claim, really a blind claim, only because you believe in the Quran. Jesus is the Messiah. I believe Jesus is the Messiah because the Quran says so. But you don't have any proof that he's the Messiah. So it's just a claim as a Muslim. You need the previous scriptures in order to be able to prove that Jesus is indeed the Messiah. Make sense?
Okay. It does make sense. Just to understand, the Christian position, is it that they believe he is not the Messiah, or they also believe that he is the Messiah?
Yeah, the Christian position is a definitely heck yes. He is the Messiah. He fulfills the requirements of the Messiah. Now, here's the difference, okay? Because from the Christians, our New Testament, that's where we get Jesus' life, his teachings, where he's born, all this kind of stuff. The Christians, we have Jesus' life, we have the New Testament writings, we have the gospel that shows us, that demonstrates us specifically how Jesus is the Messiah. Not just a claim. It's not just that, oh, Jesus is the Messiah, boom. No. It's Jesus is the Messiah because he fulfilled this from the scriptures. He fulfilled this from the scriptures. He fulfilled this as the Messiah from the scriptures. He, all this kind of stuff. So that's how the New Testament, when it says Jesus is the Messiah, always refers back to the Old Testament, showing how Jesus fulfills the Old Testament passages about the Messiah. But the Quran doesn't. The Quran just says he's the Messiah without showing how.
Okay. So I understand that point. I guess now this is now where we have the point of the argument, right? I think you're saying that because the Quran doesn't demonstrate how he is the Messiah, is that why you don't regard it, or is that why it is false?
Well, that's not why. No,
I'm not saying like overall. I'm just saying on this particular issue. Is that why it is wrong, or
no? So the Quran it's actually right here. I'm not saying the Quran is wrong. It's actually right. It's making a true claim, but it's just a true claim. It doesn't tell you how or why. You can't prove it. It's making a true claim, just it doesn't have proof behind it. But this is established not from the Quran. This truth that Jesus is the Messiah is not established from the Quran. It's established from the previous scriptures. So it's not its own truth. It's pulling this truth from what came before it. Now, here's something important, is that here's the next phase. The next phase is that when we go and look at the qualifications of the Messiah, who he is, what he's supposed to do, his mission, when we actually see what the scriptures say about the Messiah, you'll see that it is a double-edged sword against Islam. When Islam calls Jesus the Messiah, when it identifies Jesus as this figure, it cuts itself, because this figure is Jesus as the Messiah, the messianic figure, goes against Islam. Everything about him goes against Islam.
Okay, so because I'm trying to understand what is the point of debate here. So you're saying because number one, when the Quran presents the picture of who a Messiah is, it doesn't really explain how he is this Messiah. Because if it did, then it would most likely would have demonstrated the Old Testament version of what a Messiah is, which eventually leads to the Messiah being basically God. I think that's the conclusion, right? Which Islam doesn't affirm.
Say that last part again.
So I'm saying basically.
No, I heard you. What?
Yeah,
You
and I'm
finished
just
it
trying
with a
to repeat
question.
the last part. So you're saying if you follow through the full Old Testament expectation or criteria for a Messiah, it inadvertently leads you to the conclusion that the Messiah is also God.
Correct.
Or is also divine.
Yes.
Is that the conclusion you want to make?
That's the conclusion. Yes.
Okay. Okay, then I think I'm not clear with what the debate is. The only handicap I will have now is because I know you are looking to do it from the Quranic perspective. The only handicap now will be that I will have to see the full criteria of a Messiah that leads him to be a divine being before we can. I think that will now be the most important argument. And I know you don't really want to talk about the Bible.
No, I do.
You want to focus on the Quran, right?
No. This entire topic is supposed to lead to the Bible. It's supposed to show the Muslim, like you, I'm sure it's supposed to show you that you need to go to the Bible to see what the Messiah is and show you how it hurts Islam. And that's what I want to do. I want us to go to the Bible and so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. So let me just knock a couple of points off, then we can go into the Bible. Right. I think Muslims overall, we do understand that. The first thing is that I think the word Bible is a misnomer here, because we're talking about the Old Testament, Torah, Pentateuch, and all that other books that combine to make a Bible. So when we say Bible, I think it's a bit of a misnomer. We need to be focused on the previous scriptures. Now, it's very clear, Muslims, we do not deny the fact that the Quran does not come to disprove or insist that everything in the previous scriptures are wrong. I think you're very clear in understanding that Quran affirms that there have been other scriptures and there have been righteous and right books. So basically the Torah, the Injil, we do not say that these things are wrong. The second thing is, if in the Injil and the Torah, there is a criteria for what a Messiah is, a Muslim doesn't have an issue to dispute or say this is wrong. And then the final point is, I think one of the reasons why you will not find a full description of what a Messiah is in the Quran is because it was not really relevant for the Arabs. The Messiah has always been a Jewish phenomenon, something that they were expecting. And the only reason you see him being mentioned in that particular way, I think as scholars have tried to allude to, is basically to help the Jewish people relate to it, to know that this is the same person that you've met in the past and you've seen, and there's not someone different. So that's why you see different explanations within Islamic paradigm explaining what a Messiah is. But I think the point I'm making is we do not refute whatever comes in the previous scripture. Now, I think the only difference now will be that your expectation or your definition of what the Messiah is and how it leads to divinity. I think that's what is in contention here.
So if the Messiah does turn out, according to the scriptures, as a criteria of his to be divine, then that would show that Islam is false for going against that. By saying that Jesus is the Messiah, you're saying that he's God, and obviously the Quran rejects that Jesus is God, so that's why it's a double-edged sword, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
That was a fair conclusion.
Mm-hmm. So, you ready to check out the Bible verses now?
Let's do that.
All right, so the first one.
So if you say Bible, where are we going exactly? Because again, I do not affirm the New Testament. I don't consider the scripture. So where are we going exactly?
We're going to the Tanakh. We're going to the Old Testament.
Which part of the Tanakh?
The Tanakh, yes. The Old Testament.
Which part of it? Because the Tanakh is a combination of the Pentateuch, right?
Prophet Isaiah.
The series of the prophets.
Prophet Isaiah.
So we're going into the prophets, because again, I want to be clear that we know the Tanakh is 2 books technically: the Torah, which is the 5 books that we believe was revealed by God, even though not fully preserved, and then the prophet, Acts of the Prophet, which is what the prophets relate, which you do not affirm or deny.
Yeah, no.
So the Tanakh,
my friend, the
if I
Tanakh
don't
is
accept the book.
No, my friend. The Tanakh is made up. The Tanakh is made up of more than just 2 books. The Torah itself is made up of 5 alone. The Torah is in the Tanakh. The Tanakh is the entirety of the Old Testament. That's what the Tanakh is. You have the Torah. You got the major and minor prophets. You got all these different sections. The Psalms and the Proverbs, the wisdom literature,
Psalms, right? Yes.
Yeah, the wisdom literature.
So that's the three aspects of it, right? The Torah, the 5 books, then the Acts of the Prophet, the minor and the major ones, and then the Proverbs and the Psalms and the rest, right?
Yeah, as well as the history of the kings and stuff. So
yeah, okay.
So what we're going
in, those 3 categories that we have.
So we're using the prophets.
Found that the Torah is what is revealed.
So we're using
the prophets. I think you also agree with that.
Can you hear me?
From God. That's what we also.
I don't think you can hear me. You got a bad connection. But can you hear me good? Because it shows that you have a red bar.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, but there might be a delay on your end because it's like we're talking at the same time. But so it's okay. Prophet Isaiah. We're going to Prophet Isaiah. Prophet Isaiah. And this is what he says of the Messiah. Chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. Okay. So it says, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end. On the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this." So the son that's being born to us is identified as God himself and the Father of eternity. That's Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 and 7. If you are off the app, my brother, I can't hear you if you're talking. Yeah, I know that you're probably looking at the verse right now yourself. So
yeah. I wasn't speaking. I was just trying to follow the verse because I was reading I've been reading the book of Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying because it says a child is born who will be with all the criteria there.
Mm-hmm.
That means whoever that is divine, right?
Yes, it literally calls him the mighty God and the Father of eternity.
Well, why is that then the criteria for Messiah?
Well, it's saying that that's
Hebrew mentioned that as Messiah.
Yeah, it's saying that that's who it is. That's who he is. The son that's being born to us, the son that's being given, who rules, who's the king and ruler of Israel, the Messiah, the anointed one. He is the mighty God, the Father of eternity.
Yeah. What we're trying to establish what the criteria is for a Messiah,
mm-hmm.
and this sounds like a prophecy of someone. Which again, I'm not disputing what the prophecy is. I'm just trying to establish what the criteria for a Messiah is.
Yeah. So basically, what we're doing is we're going to the messianic passages where it foretells the Messiah coming, right? And it gives us details about him. So this is one of them. that he's a son that's going to be born to us in human form, right? But he's also identified as God himself and the Father of eternity, who will rule on the throne of David forever. So it's giving us these details about him. So that's who this is who the Messiah is and what he will do. This is part of it. This isn't all. There's a bunch more, but this is just a small section.
Okay, so we're not establishing what it means to be a Messiah. We're just saying whoever is a Messiah will also have to be all these other things.
No,
is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that so the word Messiah means anointed one. The word Messiah means anointed one. It's actually used in a lot of places. But there's the Messiah, the particular Messiah, who is the ruler of, it gives us descriptions about him, the specific Messiah, right? Who is God in the flesh and is born in a certain place, descends from a certain lineage when he is born, and things of this nature. Things he will do, redeem mankind, rule and judge, all of these things. This is who the Messiah is, and these details, whoever claims to be the Messiah has to fit these details.
Okay, because I think I'm mixing the things up here. If you would mind clarify, because what I thought we were doing, because you remember what we said earlier was that the Quran does not lay out a criteria of what it means to be a Messiah.
Yeah,
it doesn't give us any of that detail. It just says he is a Messiah. It doesn't give us a detail that what it means to be a Messiah. And you're saying that for us to know what it means to be a Messiah, you have to go back to the old previous scriptures.
Correct.
And I thought we were trying to establish that what it means to be a Messiah. But it seems to me what you're saying is you've already jumped to what it means to be a Messiah to say whoever is that Messiah will also have to fit this other criteria, these other titles.
Yeah. So
if you are the Messiah, then you are also these other things. Yeah. It seems that's what we're doing now.
So if you're the Messiah, if you are the Messiah, according to the scriptures, then you are these things. Boom, boom, these points, these details about the Messiah, that's who you are. If you are not these things, then you're not the Messiah. It's like,
but I don't understand how we're saying this is the Messiah, which means you can have other anointed people, right?
Yes.
If they follow the criteria of being a Messiah.
There are other anointed ones, yes. But then there's the anointed one who's anointed to be ruled. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I think this is where my confusion is coming from. Why are we linking this other criteria to being a Messiah? Because it's not linked, right? You can be a Messiah and not fall under this particular criteria.
Maybe I'm not being like totally clear. I don't know. So the Messiah has particular requirements and identifications, identity markers. The Messiah. So this specific Messiah, the ruler, he's ruler of Israel. He has all these details about him. That's who it is to be the Messiah. Okay? Has specific qualifications and details about him that make him the Messiah. The Messiah. Okay? So when you have the Messiah that has these specific details, like, for example, the Messiah is supposed to be, and I'll show you these scriptures. The Messiah is supposed to be born in Bethlehem. The Messiah is supposed to be born of a virgin. The Messiah is supposed to be the ruler of Israel. The Messiah is supposed to be born from the lineage of Judah, the tribe of Judah, a descendant of David specifically. Okay? So you have these requirements of the Messiah. These details fit who the Messiah is. So the person that you identify as the Messiah has to fit those criteria, has to fit those requirements.